Good morning. Welcome to the January 3rd, 2023 meeting of the Saline County Board of Commissioners. I would ask the clerk please call the roll.
Commissioner Shadwick?
Here.
Commissioner Sparks?
Here.
Commissioner Vidrickson?
Here.
Commissioner Weiss?
Here.
Commissioner White?
I would ask that you please stand and join me in a flag salute followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We now move to the citizens input portion of our meeting today, where citizens may speak on county government, usually limited to 3 minutes and pertaining to items that are not on today's agenda. Is there anyone who wishes to address the commission? Seeing none, I'll bring it back for regular business. Our first item is the consent agenda, which consists of approval of tax roll adjustments, approval of accounts payable, approval of public forum agenda, and approval of a cereal malt beverage license number 150251 for Anna L. Rentiera Cortez, DBA Don Turo's Kitchen, LLC. Are there any commissioners who wish to adjust the consent agenda?
Move approval.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve today's consent agenda. All of those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries 4-0. We will now go to presentations.
Community Housing Development Organization with Mike Peterson.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I asked for the opportunity to come and speak with you, mostly just to say thank you. The things you've done to help fund this program are immensely popular and immensely helpful to folks in our community, meaning the entire county. What you're doing right now is you've given us a grant to do weatherization assistance program. We're focusing on things that we can do to individuals' homes that will reduce their cost of utilities. Probably more accurately, reduce their usage of utilities, since we can't control the price of those incoming electricity, water, or gas. So we're doing everything we can to get out the word to the public that we're in the application stage. We've had probably 10 to 15 applications. The reason I can't give you a specific number is some of them are doing it online. We have an online presence. We have our office at 748 Duval. We've had walk-ins. We also will mail things out. If someone wants to call us, we'll work with them that way as well. We want to make this as easy as we need to help the individuals involved. And it is every city in the county and every rural address in the county is eligible. Right now we're starting off with people who own their homes. If we're unable to expend all the funds with that, then we'll come back and talk about doing rental properties as well. So I'm available today if you have any questions. Again, the county offices have done a fantastic job in helping us not only with this, but also in getting the word out. Senior citizens, the health department, and others have been extremely helpful to us in letting people know that the program exists.
Good deal.
Mike, is the North Central Kansas Planning Commission involved in this whatsoever? I know that they do the same type of work.
They do. We consulted with them. We talked about it. Their threshold for income is less than what the grant is that we have. The Department of Energy that funds them puts it at a absolute minimum low income. The program you all sponsored was low and moderate income. So what we're trying to do is, if we get applications that are not in Saline County but might qualify for the Regional Planning Commission, we are sending those to them. If they get applications in Saline County that they can't fund because of the dollar amount, the income the individual has, they're forwarding those folks to us. So are they involved? Not specifically, but are we working cooperatively? Yes, we're working together on it.
Is there a deadline for this, did you say?
Not specifically. I believe there's a deadline for the grant as a whole, but we'll continue to take applications for as long as we possibly can, or until the money's expended.
Okay, other comments from commissioners?
Thank you for your work.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for taking the time to come and inform us. We'll move to action items. Item number 1.
2023 resolution to appoint members of the Saline County Rural Fire District Number 3 with Michelle Weiss, Emergency Management Director.
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning. I am here to ask for the appointment of the 8th member to Rural Fire District Boards of Trustees for District 3. Paul McCow has served his district for several years. His term would be those similar to the ones that I asked for last month. His appointment date would just start today and serve for 2 years versus the others that started on the 1st. Are there any questions?
Questions from commissioners? Comments from the public? Not, I'll bring it back to the commission for action.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adopt Resolution 23-2378 as presented by staff.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve 2023 resolution, appoint members of the Saline County Rural Fire District Number 3, 2023-01. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
We'll move to item number 2.
Bid award, bid award for 2023 pipe and bridge decking material, 2023-06, Justin Mader, County Engineer.
Good morning, Justin.
Morning, Commissioners. So I'm here to award the bid for the pipe culvert and bridge decking. Sealed bids were opened on December 28th at 11 a.m. and we received 3 bids. In your packet, you should have a hopefully 11 by 17 copy of the bid tabs. And the bids were designed so that the pipe, the end sections, and the bridge decking could all be bid separately. And so all of this material would be placed in our inventory for our use in the future. So alternatives for action would be to accept the bids as indicated in staff recommendation or to reject the bids. Staff recommends accepting the bid from Wellborn Sales for pipe and dimple bands in the amount of $76,598.73 and bridge decking in the amount of $31,714.80. Staff also recommends accepting the bid from Contact Engineered Solutions for the pipe end sections in the amount of $59,052. And this has got a combined bid of $167,365.53. If you look at the numbers from last year, the pipe culverts is actually down about 40%. It's somewhere between 35 and 40%, which is great. The end sections are, depending on when you're looking at the sizes, some of them are down, between 5 and 9% below last year's, but then some is as high as 32% higher over last year's. And then the bridge decking has got a little bit anywhere from 4 to 12% increase on the bridge decking. Staff recommends to purchase the pipe end sections and bridge decking, and the cost to purchase that material to be taken from our 125 account, which is our 2 mil account. This account has an unencumbered balance of $712,000.12. Any questions?
Justin, are these, the amount of material that you're buying, is it similar to what it was last year?
It's actually a little bit less material than we bought last year. Last year was a bigger year. So, and really it's kind of based off of, this is all the material that is going to be installed by our maintenance division. And so these are, going to be entrance pipes or pipes underneath gravel roads. And so those years where if they don't use as much pipe, then we don't buy some, replace those the next year.
So the material that we're buying is for anticipated projects or planned projects?
Anticipated.
Okay.
Anticipated.
Other questions from commissioners? Nope. Do we have any public who wish to speak? Not, I'll bring it back to the commission for action.
Mr. Chairman, I move we award the bids for pipe and bridge decking as recommended in RFA 2023-06.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the bid award for 2023 pipe and bridge decking material 2023-06. All of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. We'll move to item number 3.
2023 motor grader purchase, 2023-04 with Darren Fischel, Road and Bridge Administrator.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
This request for action is for the award of the contract purchase of one new motor grader. Sealed bids were opened on December 21st, 2022 at the City County Building. 3 bids were received and are as follows. Fully equipment, 2023 Model 150 in the amount of $415,000 with a guaranteed trade of $120,000, leaving a total cost bid of $295,000. A Model 2023 140 for $383,000 with a guaranteed trade of $110,000 with a total cost bid of $273,000. Murphy Tractor bid a 2023 Model 770 GP, the total amount of $432,000 with a guaranteed trade amount of $130,000, leaving the total cost bid at $302,000. Saline County has been using the total cost bidding method since 1990. Total cost bidding lets the county consider all major costs before actually purchasing a machine. Also, this method allows us to acquire guarantees on maximum equipment costs through competitive bidding. In writing, we have the purchase price, the maximum we will pay for repairs, and scheduled maintenance. The bid documents were checked. The Model 2023 Model 140 Caterpillar does not meet the specification and is disqualified. The alternatives for action would be to accept the bid from Fully Equipment in the amount of $415,000 for the Model 150. Number 2, accept the bid from Murphy Tractor in the amount of $432,000 for the 770 GP. 3, reject all bids and direct staff to an alternative. Staff recommends accepting the bid from Fully Equipment in the amount of $415,000 for the 2023 Model 150 motor grader. Road and Bridge had planned on retaining one of the motor graders that was purchased with the guaranteed trade in 2018 for a yard machine. The trade value for the machine is $150,000. This machine will replace a 1997 Caterpillar with 13,865 hours. This Caterpillar machine will be sold on Purple Wave. The budget impact. The Road and Bridge capital outlay has a balance of $330,000. We would pay $265,000 out of this line item. This would leave a balance of $65,000 in the capital outlay item. The balance of $150,000 would come out from the Road and Bridge Special Equipment account, which has an unencumbered balance of $1,770,747.40. This will leave a balance of $1,620,747.40.
Darren, I can't help but notice that you've thrown out the bid. It says it does not meet the bid specifications for Model 140.
Correct.
Can you tell me specifically what that was that they didn't meet?
The horsepower.
Well, I've got, okay, because they did meet all of the specifications other than horsepower.
Correct.
It's my understanding that the Model 140 is the same as the graders that we have now, the C9 or C93s. Is that not correct?
The Model 1, say that again?
The Model 140s, which is the one that you said didn't meet the horsepower, is the same grader that we have now that we've been buying, and only thing is that, you know, they've changed the name of it, reclassified them, whatever they've done. Caterpillar I'm talking about, so.
We tried the lower horsepower machines a few years ago because the bid was different, and then we went back to the larger machines. The machines going back are what they call 12M, and they were supposed to be equivalent to what was then the 140. They used to have a 120 and a 140. And the horsepower rating really comes into effect when you get into the upper gears, which is 3rd and 4th gear, the horsepower increases. But we did have the older machines that were 140 equivalent, and they just didn't pan out real well.
Well, I guess I'll let other commissioners speak. Any comments?
Nope.
And just not knowing, what do you mean it didn't pan out as well? What is it?
They don't have quite enough power to do the ditch work. If you were
Yeah,
to-
but, I mean, but what you just said is that the horsepower rating only comes into play in third and fourth gears and they're not grading the ditches in third and fourth gear, don't want that more horsepower.
snow removal, when you put the plow on, the horsepower becomes necessary, and we just didn't get positive feedback from the employees. They said it didn't really meet their needs. So our last motor grader purchase was the Caterpillar 150.
That last comment is one that kind of makes me chuckle a little bit, because obviously everybody wants the bigger the better. No matter what the department, no matter what the piece of equipment that we're buying, they want bigger and better. I wish I were more capable of making an analysis here, because it is, what, $32,000 for a difference between the machines. So, but I don't have enough knowledge to go against it and go for the lesser machine, so. Commissioner Weiss, did you have any comments?
No, I'm going to bow to the expertise of our road and bridge director, and what he thinks we need is what I'll probably vote for.
I'm comfortable with the request.
Are there any members of the public who wish to speak? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission for action.
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the bid from Foley Equipment in the amount of $415,000 for the 2023 Model 150 motor grader.
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we move the motor grade, approve the motor grader purchase 2023-04. Any further comments? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. We will move to informational items. Item number 1.
Road and Bridge bi-monthly update 2023-02 with Darren Fischel, Road and Bridge Administrator.
Morning again. I have some of the things that we accomplished during the last 2 months of 2022. We sent 14 different employees to 3 different LTAP classes. We have hosted 2 LTAP classes also. We completed the countywide Durapatch. We set up voting booths for the November general election. Did some trash pickup countywide. We had what we call a snow and ice prep day. That is familiarizing the new employees with the trucks, learning how they operate and their snow routes. We salvaged the guardrail from the Shipton Bridge that the state is building on K-143. That guardrail is old, but it matches a lot of the older stuff within our county, so we can reuse it that way. We did dig a section corner for engineering projects, and we responded to 2 snow and ice events, one that ran from December 22nd through to December 23rd, and we had one on December 25th. Next slide, please. We did replace and remove 5 culverts. This is Lightville Road north of Hedberg. Actually, this is Cooley Road south of Hedberg. Next slide is Cooley Road south of Hedberg. Humbarger Road west of Shipton will be the next slide. This just shows that when you extend a culvert and don't quite get the sizes matched up right, bad things happen. This culvert probably should have been replaced with a longer one, continuous. So we went out and we did that. Minner Road west of Holmes Road. This Humbarger Road actually west of Simpson. The property owner called me and he had tried to clean this culvert out, and you can see that it was just packed full and corroded. Next slide, please. This is Minner Road west of Holmes Road. Somebody had extended their culvert with just a little piece of plastic. We went out and redid the ditch and installed a regular culvert. Next, this is Chestnut Street in Bridgeport. This is the road that the commission had previously vacated. This shows the intersection that was along the roadway prior to the vacation. We went and removed the culvert and then made the ditch continuous so that didn't look like a street. And we also removed the street sign and moved it to the other intersection. We had 3 erosion control projects. This is on Humbarger Road east of Crystal Springs. There was there is a concrete box there that was beginning to undermine and erode where the water tops the road there frequently. Next slide, please. This is Link Road north of Old 40 along a dry creek that when it rains, it continuously eats into the roadway. We went and dumped some of the rubble. The rubble that you see is when we get concrete culverts, we break that up. Next slide, please. This is Amos Road south of Campbell. This is a gated road that usually it doesn't provide too much of a problem, but when it floods, it washes the whole thing out. You can see the culvert sticking up in the air there is dramatically undersized. Next slide, please. So we just went in there and made a low water crossing so that the next time this happens, you don't have to send a crew out there. A motor grader can go out there and just heal it up because it's only used 2 or 3 times a year by the farmers. Next slide, please. This is Armstrong Road east of Headville. This was a bridge box culvert that had been condemned. We put up permanent barricades in front of it and behind it. Someone out there continually chainsawing the barricades down and continuing to use the box, so which presents a hazard to everyone. So we removed it. Next slide, please. The property owners still have access to their property. They have to go around the mile line, but in order for somebody to not get hurt on that, we removed it. Next slide, please. We did start, this is Gypsum Valley, actually, just north of Cloud Street. This was the county's part of this project. As you remember, engineering had done gotten some FEMA to do this project in order to keep the price down. There was tree removal on there, and we decided that, that once the work was done, the county could go in and remove the trees. Next slide, please. Right there, if you look just straight in the middle of that picture is where those trees were. So it really opened up the sight line for that curve. Next slide, please. This is Fairchilds north of Crawford. This is what they call the Big Ditch. It runs north for about a half a mile of the county. The ditch actually runs a little bit farther, but the county has a half a mile there that we have to maintain. So we went in and removed the vegetation. Next slide, please. This is Spillman Road, west of Simpson Road. This is just some tree work that we do. If there are little projects like this, we'll go out, we'll take the chipper. 2 or 3 guys can go out and clean these areas up. Next slide, please. This is Stimmel east of Muir. Again, some chipper work. You see the trees growing out onto the roadway. The ones that are in the fence line were the owner's property. We did not remove those, and we trimmed up what was there. Next slide, please. This is Burma Road south of Armstrong. This shows the work that is done by the cutter head, where it just mulches the material in place. It's effective. Also showing a picture there of some of our safety equipment. Wherever we work around high lines, we put one of those large cones with a notification that there's an overhead wire. Next slide, please. This is North Street east of Eastboro. This is also cutter head equipment, where you can see the still sticking out vegetation. That's about as high as we can reach with that machine. Next slide, please. This is for the year. Our maintenance crew replaced 76 culverts in 2023. And you can see the locations are just pretty well throughout the county. Next slide. Okay, this is 13. This is the activity by the motor grader operators. They maintained 13,456 miles in 2023. Next slide, please. We performed 247 laybacks by the rural patrolmen. Next slide, please. This is a map of the locations that had 1 or more loads of aggregate hauled in 2022. Next slide, please. This is locations where the whole mile was rocked in 2022. Next slide, please. This is locations where the whole mile was resanded. Next slide, please. And for 2022, we hauled 28,450 ton of rock, 12,384 ton of AB3, 73,035 ton of sand, 3,617 ton of dirt, 1,450 ton of asphalt millings, and 1,400 ton of salt. We are planning next year's construction projects, preparing bid documents for the equipment improvement program, and continuing with the vegetation control and responding to winter weather. The budget line items fell within the normal parameters except for the fuel line item that ran over by $150,000, but due to the dry year, the shortfall can be made up by the aggregate line items that were underrun.
Darren, early on in your report here, you mentioned the property owner going out and trying to dig out the ditch or the culvert or whatever. I assume that we really don't want them to do that.
No, we don't. That is correct. But, you know, he was just trying to get out there with his little open up the end of it type of thing, and what he found was that it was completely plugged. And he called me, and I said, okay.
Well, good. But to play the devil's advocate, I mean, if he went out and then destroyed the culvert pipe, we're still going to be the one that has to fix it, I assume.
We don't recommend that. If there's an issue with any of our items, that we would want people to call us.
The other question or comment I've got is regarding Fairchild's Road, and you and I have talked about that because there's another, 200 or 300 feet on down to the north to improve that drainage. But it's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong with it, but the county does not have a right-of-way privilege to do anything correct on further north.
That is correct, and it's about 1,000 feet.
And if we were to, I mean, the property owners would need to grant a right-of-way, or how would that work to the county?
You know, if Saline County was to approve or want to do that, it would require an easement from the property owners to be able to perform that work.
I know that at least one of those property owners, the one on the west, would like to see that done, and I think probably would give us an easement, but I haven't heard from the other one, so. Okay. Other comments and questions from commissioners?
Busy year. Busy year.
It was.
Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so.
Good job.
Okay. We'll move to item number 2.
Chamber Legislative Platform 2023-03 with Philip Smith Haynes, County Administrator.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm joined today by Renee Duxler, who's currently the Workforce and Economic Development Director at the Saline Area Chamber of Commerce, but starting next Monday will be the interim CEO for the Chamber with the departure of Eric Brown. So we are here today just to present to the Commission the legislative agenda that the Chamber and a number of partner organizations throughout the community have put together. We've been doing something similar for a number of years, but it has been what I'll call more of a laundry list of issues that each of the various partners wanted to emphasize. This year, thanks to some assistance from somebody who does this for a living, we've tried to focus it a little bit more around 8 sort of key pillars. And those were included in the packet. This morning at the dais, I've handed out the latest draft of the full document. It is still a little bit of work in progress. There's a couple sections that are missing, a couple typos that will get fixed, but this will all get presented on Thursday afternoon. We will be meeting with legislators and go over the document, talk about what Salina and Saline County want to see, certainly from our state legislative session that starts next Monday, as well as the new congressional session. You know, we tried to focus around things that I think The entire community gets behind, regional success and economic development, skilled workforce, quality housing, new transportation initiatives, investment in education, quality of life, healthcare and mental health care, and then early childhood education and childcare. So that is sort of an overview. I'll see if Renee has anything that she'd like to add, and then certainly open for any questions from commissioners.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Renee.
Again, Renee Dexler, Director of Economic and Workforce Development at the Salina Area Chamber. Just wanted to say thank you this morning for your partnership as we go through another legislative session. It always helps to be together as a community. We've done this, as Phil mentioned, for many years now. We are excited to be in a partnership with a legislative affairs consultant. We kind of just decided, especially after last year and going to the legislator and getting that $25 million for housing, that if we really invested in focused energy on legislation. We've always had a great relationship with our legislators, but if we could really focus some energies towards those sort of advocacy activities, that there's a lot that we could do. And what you'll see with this agenda that is a little different, as Phil pointed out, is that we are asking for some funding in sort of very direct ways that we haven't typically with this document. There's just a lot of things that we are seeing happen across the state with a lot of funding sort of funneling into the state, and Salina wants to get our share of it, essentially. So I'll stand for any questions.
Specifically, I don't have any questions about this, but I do have a question about the search for a new chamber director. Has that started, or is it going to start, or do you know anything about it?
What I know about it is it's going to start. I know that our board is kind of compiling the search committee to kind of come together, so you guys will hear about that and be a part of it, I'm sure. They're hoping to post something, my understanding is, towards the beginning of this month, so here very soon. Start interviewing in February and have somebody installed by March.
Okay, good timeline.
Yeah.
Any other comments from commissioners?
You brought up the housing projects. Where are we on that, on the progress?
You know what? That's a great city question. My understanding of it is they're continuing to work with a developer to get that underway, and still looking at not only that stretch on West Crawford around the Ambassador, but also that land over by Menards.
Okay.
Anyone else? Thank you. Okay, we'll move to item number 3.
Commissioners' comments?
I know at this time that I don't have anything, but I know that Commissioner Weiss, as chairman, would like to make a comment.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Vidrickson. I'm sorry I couldn't be there today, but I think it'd be remiss if we didn't say goodbye to Commissioner White, District 5. We'll have a new board seated next week, and I wanted to take this opportunity and make sure it's part of the minutes that we said our thanks to Commissioner White. Historically, he has spent 22 years as a county commissioner, far more than any other county commissioner in the history of Saline County, and he has served District 5 diligently, and I just wanted to wish him the best going forward. And he has been our historian. He's the one that's given us the reason why things were done in the past and the thought process the commission had at that time. And it has been a very, very valuable asset to this commission. So I'd like to say farewell to Commissioner White, and thank you for the 6 years that I was allowed to serve with you, and Godspeed.
Well said.
Well said, Jim. Yes. Any other comments from commissioners? We'll move to item number 4.
Announcements?
Well, I will tag on to Chairman Weiss's comments there and say that yes, there will be a swearing in next Monday at 10:30 in this room, and as the chairman mentioned, new commissioner will be seated, and a couple others will join us again for 4 more years. And so we will look forward to that.
All right, anyone else? That having been said, I will take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we adjourn today's meeting. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you.